That's a different kind of disaster. Big free agent signing. They need to find a way to keep him away from high leverage situations. He can't be in there. But the problem is that they don't really have anyone else. And look, I hate to say this. I really do. Because I was for the trade. And I'm not ready to give up on it yet. But Edwin Diaz has been very far from the dominant closer the Mets were expecting and hoping for. They were banking on this kid. Robinson Cano, I expected to have a pretty good year. I expected him to, regress, from like 305, 300 to like, 275, 280. I expected him to at least be decent. But Edwin Diaz, this was the guy that the Mets were banking on. The dominant, unhittable, lights-out arm who was arguably the best closer in baseball last season, has been far too hittable this year. Early in the year, you saw like these flashes of just dominance where nobody could touch him. And then all of a sudden, everything changed. When you deal away one of your best prospects, who could potentially be a star in the future in Jarred Kelenic, you expect a shutdown closer in return. Just the way it is. The Mets did this for now. They did this to win now. I'm tired of people talking like they weren't really expected to do much this year. This is what they built the offseason around. If the Mets were going to rebuild, you trade Jacob deGrom for just rob some team of like their whole farm system. Go trade Noah Syndergaard. Rob them of their minor league system, their top prospects. You have Pete Alonso for the future. You have Jarred Kelenic, in 2 or 3 years. You have Jeff McNeil. You still have Michael Conforto. You continue building from there. No, the Mets did this for right now. Edwin Diaz needs to be that guy. He needs to be more of a consistent force. Seth Lugo appears to be the Mets' best reliever at the moment. And he has had problems with his health this year. It's funny. This is an indictment against Edwin Diaz. I don't know if it's more of an indictment against Diaz or the Mets. Because I saw it was 4-2 in the top of the 9th inning the other night. And I said to myself, they're going to blow it. Like, you just knew it. They're going to blow this. 5 minutes later, it was 4-4. That's a problem. When you have a closer as talented as Edwin Diaz, the confidence level should not be that low. The first thought, when it's 4-2 in the 9th inning and you have an electric, unhittable, closer with that kind of stuff, that arsenal on him, the first thought should be game over. Especially when you're up by 2 or more. When you're up by 1, anything can happen. Bad throw, a walk, a ball that's hit down the line for extra bases and they score a run. That happens. 2 or more runs, it's got to be shocking when he blows that kind of game. Instead, it's the expectation. I don't know if it's just the pessimism in me, but that's just the way it is. That's a problem. By the way, is there anyone hotter on the planet Earth right now, outside of maybe the Atlanta Braves, than Charlie Blackmon? Blackmon became the first Colorado Rocky with 3 straight 4-hit games. Came 1 hit away from 4 straight games. He went 3 for 6 yesterday. Had a chance in the 9th inning to get his 4th hit. Flew out. Impressive. Remember when he got off to a rough start early this season? You know, the Rockies as a team really were floundering. You know, Nolan Arenado got off to a slow start. The Rockies really, Kyle Freeland getting bombed left and right. They didn't really seem to have anything under control. That same June, to record 15 hits in a 4-game series, that tied a major league record. He hit 3 home runs in the series against the Padres, and his homestand as a whole is something straight from a video game. Like, looking at these numbers, you're thinking like a creative player in a video game, and he's a cheat code. A .568 average in his last 2 series, both at home, with 6 home runs and 15 RBIs. An OPS of over 1,700. I mean, come on. Like, I don't care where it is. I don't care if you're playing at the moon. That's ridiculous. Those are ridiculous numbers. Blackmon is, after that rough start he got off to for the first month and a half of the year, Blackmon is now hitting .332 with 15 home runs and 44 RBIs on the season. Pretty much erasing April and early May. Absolutely crazy what he's doing right now. And by the way, it's not a coincidence that his Rockies are back to a formidable record of 37-34 and are tied for second place in the National League West behind the Dodgers. This team had a lot of expectations going into this season because their pitching was good. I still didn't necessarily buy into that, but it was definitely more talented than usual. And their lineup with guys like Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story, the acquisition of Daniel Murphy, who has all of a sudden become, he's the wave of Daniel Murphy, went from an average of 140 to like 280 in the span of, 3 weeks, a month? Absolutely, that's crazy. All of a sudden, all of them are hot. That's more of what everyone expected from Colorado this season. But by the way, Marquez needs to be a little bit more on the consistent side because I have no idea what to expect from German Marquez going into starts. He can be great, or he could be completely dreadful. You don't want to be that guy. Inconsistency is a bad pitch, and you don't want that. Marquez has been good for the most part, but when he's gotten hit really hard. Even in the win the other night, I think he gave up like 9 runs. It's like, you don't want to be a mixed bag kind of pitcher. And then there are the Atlanta Braves, who I just mentioned. This team is fun. But I do have some concerns here. They had their 8-game winning streak snapped when they lost to Philadelphia on Saturday night. But then they came back the next day and won 15-1. would be the difference between the Braves being another good team or a team that has the potential to go to a World Series. Because when you think about it, last year they were really good. They surprised me last year. They won the division. They just weren't ready to take it to the next level. Them adding a guy, a former, MVP caliber player in Josh Donaldson, he was either going to be really good or really bad. And he's been a little bit of both this year. But he's been better than I expected him to be, really. It's pretty scary that Dallas Keuchel has yet to even throw a pitch for this team yet. He's going to be very important to this team if they expect to take steps forward come postseason time and late in the season. Because when you look at this lineup, there are very few lineups in baseball more balanced than the Atlanta Braves. Ronald Acuna got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's been fantastic of late. I mean, I know that he has the ability to be a top 5 player in all of baseball. He has that kind of talent all around. Power, stolen bases, hits for an average, has a great glove, a great arm, speed. Freddie Freeman continues to be the most overlooked MVP caliber player in Major League Baseball history. It really is incredible. People don't talk about Freddie Freeman nearly as much, or nearly as much as they should. He's not even talked about the most on his team, let alone, as an MVP caliber player. People are like, oh yeah, by the way, Freddie Freeman's good too. No, Freddie Freeman is an absolute beast. He's remarkable, both offensively and defensively. On the offensive side, his mix of power, patience, his eye for the strike zone, and his fight makes him one of the scariest hitters on the planet. You need a single to score a run? He's going the other way. He's going up the middle. He's finding a hole. He's hitting the ball hard. He's going to get you that base hit. You're playing down the line. I'm going to hit the ball to, the first baseman's right. He finds ways to get on base. He finds, he has power. He's on top of the plate. He controls the at-bats, which is something that is a little bit overlooked because there are some guys that go up there hacking and they have a ton of power, but they're very undisciplined at the plate. Freddie Freeman is a very disciplined, patient hitter. He tends to get more calls because of that, too. Because of that reputation. Then there's Ozzie Albies, who's hitting over 280 with 10 home runs. He's pesky on the bases, too. He's going to be an all-star again. Dansby Swanson has made strides at the plate. He's hitting 13. He's hit 13 home runs this year. He's come into his own. It took him a little bit longer, but he's getting there. Nick Markakis, the veteran, another very overlooked player. The emergence of young, powerful Austin Riley. There's an outstanding mix of young power and good veteran leadership on this team. Here's where my issue comes.